Alright, so like I said, I was unable to narrate the black and white game live, so what I am going to be doing is narrating this, because I missed this game, so, yeah, I missed it, so I'm going to be narrating the replay. I do, know the outcome of it, but I do not know how it transpired, so I'm just going to be narrating this for the first time, essentially, because I have no idea what plays either of these players will make, so let's just cut right into it. The DPP game will be recorded live, by the way, so this is not just a post-recorded series completely. So Ciele versus Masterclass. Ciele and Sweepage both brought fucking weird teams, if you ask me. Ciele brought a Porygon 2. If it was something over the Porygon 2, then admittedly it'd look much more normal, but that's interesting. And Sweepage brought a Kingdra Sand with a Bronzong, so that's really just... I didn't see that coming. I assume the Bronzong is for something like Excadrill, and it can't be trapped by Magnezone, or at least it can't be hard trapped by Magnezone, because it can always still Volt Switch on it for a lot of damage, but... we're just going to see what happens. He's going to lead Tyranitar, he's going to lead Mew. Sweep is going to get his Magnezone burnt by the Mew, since there's nothing for Magnezone to really trap here. Heatran is not trappable really, unless it's like really slow, and even then you're risking dying, so it's probably more offensive anyway, knowing Ciele and his level Balloon Tram. But he's going to go out to Landorus here on the... I guess Sweepage is going to go for the Thunderbolt. Alright, he went with a Thunderbolt. I think that was a fair enough play. Obviously, that Magnezone is not going to be able to touch that Landorus, and depending on the Landorus set, he's either going to Rocks or he's going to go for the U-turn here. So... he's going to go out to his Amoonguss, and he's going to go ahead and fire off a Earthquake, and that does quite a bit of damage. Whoa, that Amoonguss actually got blown the hell back, so it's going to be a 2 KO, and we'll see what the Sweepage is going to do. His obvious response is going out the Bronzong here, and Ciele's going to double back, potentially the Heatran, and he does, and we're going to see that that is in fact not Balloon Tram, but probably a bulkier version of Heatran with Rocks. I don't know the Landorus set, and I don't know the Amoonguss spread. Most Amoonguss in black and white are bulkier on the special side, but he's going to predict the double to Heatran, and he's going to go out to his Tyranitar. And he's going to Rocks up. So Rocks are up on Sweep's side, and he's going to Earth Power him. Shuka Berry is going to be able to be faded, and Earth Power is going to do very little. That's looking at a specially defensive Tyranitar right there. Chances are it does have Ice Beam as it is Shuka, so it's going to try and lure Chomp and Landorus. Earth Power is not doing a comfortable amount to Sweepage. It is definitely hurting him, and he's going to go for the Stone Edge. We're going to see what set this Heatran is now. I'm going to assume it is... oh, it's actually not Leftovers. And whoa, it is actually Hidden Powered Grass. So we're going to see a stuck in Stone Edge as Sweep goes for the Ice Beam and mispredicts right there. He expected him to go to Landorus, but in all honesty, I don't think I would have risked that if I were him, because after seeing the Shuka, it was pretty obvious that that was indeed an Ice Beam Lando. It was a worthy predict, though, so it doesn't really matter. At this point, I think Sweepage actually, he might have been trying to aim for that, actually, and try and kill that so he can get Kingdra set up, but it really depends on what he can do. Rain Dance Kingdra is going to miss the pump on the Heatran, and it's actually just going to go down, so that Rain Dance setup was essentially all for nothing, because he's only going to be able to get 1 kill out of that, when it was very possible he could have gotten 2 or 3, so that is pretty bad for Sweepage right there. Actually, the Ice Beam probably was for the Heatran. It's not Heatran. Probably for the Kingdra setup, now that I think about it. Whenever I think of Kingdra, though, I always think of just Choice Specs, because I know that Choice Specs Kingdra was a thing in black and white to counter Rain, so it was a Rain Dance set. I guess I didn't think of that. He's going to go out to Magnezone, essentially use his members. He goes out to Mew. The Ice Beam is going to show. I assume this is a more especially defensive Mew if he doesn't really care about staying in on the Magnezone, which he is, unless that's some, non-choice Custap, Colbur, Choppleberry Magnezone. Mew's going to be able to soft boil that right off and beat Magnezone very comfortably, as that is going to be barely doing anything to it. He's going to go for the Thunder Wave, so that is not a choice Magnezone, and he's going to be able to paralyze the Mew, which is definitely helpful for Masterclass, because a paralyzed Mew means it loses its speed, it has less of a chance of attacking, etc., etc. Although Sweepage is still in the hole here because he really only has one big win condition left, and that is his Garchomp. So if this Garchomp can pull up a sweep, that'd be amazing, but it is more than likely that he will not be able to. What Ciele has is he has a Lando and he has a Porygon 2, and those are both going to be able to pretty much handle Garchomp for at least once, and all it really needs to do is get handled once. And we still have not seen the Starmie set, which could be an offensive version. Even if it is an offensive, all he really needs to do is just get a little damage and finish it off with Scald, unless it is going to be a Slack Chomp variant. But even then, this game is looking pretty over. Ciele has a pretty clear advantage, and Mew just absolutely shits on Masterclass. And we're going to see him going out to Amoonguss here. Mew is going to be able to beat Amoonguss pretty comfortably. I don't know what he's exactly going for here. Maybe he's trying to get Chomp into a last month situation, but at this point, it really doesn't look like Sweepage has much of a chance to win this game. So, yeah, this really is not looking all that good for him. He's not going to be able to win this game. Bronzong has no breaking power. Garchomp is not going to be able to sweep his entire team with that Porygon on it. And that is going to be game. If Kingdra was able to keep the Rain Dance up, considering Ciele has no weather control, it potentially could have knocked out 2 to 3 Mons if predicted right. Probably only about... Actually, Porygon 2 probably would have lived the Hydro Pump and been able to paralyze it. But even then, that is one Garchomp counter gone, so... You never really know, but that's going to be it, guys. A relatively short video, which I tried to analyze to the best of my ability, I guess, even though this was a post-recorded game. Up next is DPP, and we're going to have to see if Sweepage can bring this to a Game 3 situation in ORAS, a tier that he has never won a Smogon Tour game, at least in this season. So yeah, up next we got DPP, which is recorded live. What's up, guys? PDC here. I missed the black and white game of the series because once again the time was incorrect that Sweep gave me. He played 2 hours before he originally was going to play. So we're just going to jump into this DPP game. I will go over the black and white replay probably third. Basically, this is game 2 of the series. We see Ciele lead off with a Scarfed Machamp, as you can tell from the outspeeding Jirachi, or that's like minimum speed Jirachi, which it's not. But Ciele is going to go to T-Tar. Sweep goes for the Wisp, predicting probably a T-Tar or a Jirachi or some Scizor switch in. Looking at Sweep's team, I mean, this is actually pretty cool. That's Scarf Machamp, and oh, he goes with the Starmie. We'll see what what Sweep does. He goes with Focus Blast on the Starmie switch. So, looking at Ciele's team, it's a chance that this is going to be a Colbur Starmie, Scarf Machamp, T-Tar, maybe a mixed Dragonite and a Lucario in the back. He's going to go out to Shaman on the Life Orb Starmie Surf. That Surf did surprisingly little damage, even though that is Life Orb. I mean, even though it is resisted, it is Life Orb. So, I mean, you would expect it to do about 20%, but that's just going to eat it up. So this is obviously a rather bulky Shaman, potentially especially defensive invested, as that Ice Beam, which is Life Orb, did absolutely nothing, and Starmie's going to go down. So that will be the first kill of the game with Ciele losing his Life Orb Starmie. I do not know how big of an impact that is going to have on him, but Ciele is going to go to his Gengar. Alright, that's pretty interesting. Gengar, damn, I didn't see that one coming. Actually, it's kind of, I mean, he does need a Fighting Resist and an Outspeed something, so he's going to go out to Gengar. Shaman is just going to get down, but Sweep probably has an answer to Gengar in the back. I would imagine he either has a Scarfer or maybe Jirachi could take a hit. Actually, no, Jirachi's too up. He probably has a Scarfer or a Ghost Resist or something in the back to at least take on that Gengar. And he's going to go to his Heatran, which actually is looking like a pretty big threat right now, because depending if this is Scarf or not, I mean, you know, if he Fire Blast, you know, I don't think Ciele could have that many more sturdy fire resists. So if this is a Scarf Tran, then that Machamp and that Burnt Heatart will be punished. So this could be a bit dangerous for Ciele here. We're going to go ahead and see Heatran switch. I think Ciele's safest move is to just switch out the Tyranitar here. That Jirachi probably has Stealth Rocks. There's probably some Okaberry variants. So I would imagine this would be Scarfed Tran, but I'm not too sure. Just looking at Ciele's team, I mean, I would expect maybe a Steel type. I would say it's very high possibility that he has a Heatran of himself in the back, which he goes out to, as he's going to absorb the Fire Blast. And woo, this is actually not looking too hot for Sweep here, because a Flash Fire boosted Fire Blast is going to hurt, but Ciele decides to spray an Earth Power out, and we're going to see that do quite a bit of damage. That could potentially be a Scarf Tran, or it could be Rocks. We have not seen the Tyranitar set in full. It did get burnt, and we're going to see a Hydro Pump, and it's going to eat the Passion Berry, and Starmie is going to go down. So Ciele is going to lose, Masterclass is going to lose quite a bit of speed there, as Ciele is going to come out with a kill. Gengar is still looking like a threat since Scarf Machamp is not outspeeding and Payback is really easy to switch into. I do not believe that is Scarf Tyranitar. Actually, it could be Scarf T-Tar, but I think a random Scarf T-Tar on this team doesn't make too much sense. So it's going to come down to winning a speed type potentially. Sweep still has a Scarf Tram, which is useful, and he also still has a Jirachi, which can also be a pretty good option. He's probably going to just sacrifice the Tyranitar here. He misses the Focus Blast, but I do kind of doubt that that is a Scarf Tyranitar, because a Scarf Tyr on that team, I just don't know. Usually, if it's not a stall-based team or a spike-based hazard-up team, usually they're not Scarf. Usually they're either Choice Band, or they could be Nyx Stealth Rock. That could be 4-attack Heatran, but at this point, Gengar is looking pretty threatening. The Focus Blast, if he could, Ciele could also just go to Gengar here if he really is feeling ballsy. But in all honesty, I don't think that's a great idea. I think I would actually, well, I mean, that Heatran is looking threatening, but yep, double miss on the Focus Blast, and Sweep is going to crunch to Oblivion, and Gengar is going to go down. So it looks like this actually might be it, and I'm only going to be able to catch one game real quick here, because I don't know if if Masterclass is going to be able to pick this game up. I don't know if Jirachi's going to die to this crunch, which, looking at the damage, is probably Choice Banded. He does get Rocks up. It's still a mystery. Maybe he can pull it out. I think Sweepish's best play is probably to go out to Heatran here on the crunch. Maybe, oh, never mind, he decides to go for the Grass Knot, which I don't know if that would have killed, but I assume he has HP ground here, and then it's going to be able to take out the Heatran, so he does lose a Fire Resist, so who knows, maybe if he gets some rolls, and depending on the last Mon, which whatever that Mon is, he could win the game, but we're going to see a Bronzong as the last Mon, and that could be it, because honestly, I don't think he's going to be able to pull this one out, unless his last is something like a Scizor, which I don't know if it's going to be, because it looks like a really odd team for a Scizor. Instead, it's a Zapdos, which I guess I should have expected, considering he has a spinner. He's going to over the Trick Room, and unless he predicts the Explosion turns right, he's probably going to lose this, unless he really predicts his Explosion turns. So it really comes down to that. I have a feeling Ciele's going to explode turn 1, in all honesty. I just have that feeling. If he explodes here, he doesn't lose too much, because, well, I think the best play for him is to abuse the Scarf Machamp to the full possibility. So he should Gyro Ball up until Trick Room is about to run out, if he has the ability to, and then go for the Explosion. The Explosion, he goes for the Earthquake, I guess, predicting one of the two. And there's a T-Bolt. It's going to be doing over 50%, so maybe he can win this. This is looking pretty clutch here. That is a very strong Zapdos. It's not going to be able to kill Machamp, but it's going to be able to kill Gengar. It probably will miss the KO on T-Tar, but it's just going to be able to switch out for the kill. So here comes a really big turn for Sweepage. He can go out to Heatran, he can go out to Jirachi. It comes down to this turn right here, surprisingly, and I'm really rushing this commentary because I'm trying to catch up on everything. But if Sweepage goes for a switch here on the Explosion, then Zapdos can win this game, which is, it's pretty interesting here. What could happen if Sweepage predicts this Bronzong correctly? Let's say it Gyro Balls and he kills it, or he Earthquakes or whatever, and he kills it, then he's going to be forced to go out to probably his either Tyranitar, probably, because that's going to be the only thing that's going to be able to speed it. I do not know if Machamp is going to be able to handle either of these, plus Scarftran. He did lose his Fire Resist, so we are looking at a pretty close game here. All he needs to do is get a little bit of damage on Machamp, because it's obviously not going to be very bulky, so Fire Blast is probably going to do around 55. He's going to explode, he's going to kill the Zapdos, and that's going to be game, probably. I don't see Sweepage coming out of this. Maybe? I don't know. The thing here is Sweepage can potentially still win with Scarftran. He's going to go to Jirachi on the Tyranitar, but that's going to be pretty much it here, because this Tyranitar, chances are, will just Pursuit, and then Machamp will finish it off with Dynamic Punch, but Sweepage is going to be losing this game. If he predicted the Explosion there and went Jirachi on it, then, yeah, that would have been pretty interesting, in all honesty. I mean, I guess if he crits Fire Blast or something on the Machamp, I mean, you never really know. If he does crit the Fire Blast on Machamp, he can still come out of this. But, or if he didn't get confused turn 1, that really was bad. And, you know, it really just, it sucks, it does. But we're going to have to see what Sweepage can do here. He's going to Fire Blast that. Gengar will die, and it all comes down to whether Sweepage can crit this Machamp or not. or it's not going to kill it flat out, or unless this is like some ridiculous Heatran. But it's going to hit, and if it burns, crits. Nope, no burn or crit, and Heatran's going to go down to the Scarf Machamp, and that is going to be good game. So Sweepage is going to lose to Ciele. Pretty hacks-filled game, in all honesty. Interesting team from Ciele. Sweepage's team, I thought, was alright. It was pretty standard for him with a Shaman and Starmie, but that does suck. I really did not anticipate Sweepage losing like that, with all that luck. If he got the Psychic off on Machamp turn 1, then this game would have been over here, but as you can tell, that's not what happened. So now it's going to be a Ciele versus either Cosine or Solwyn final. And yeah, that was an interesting game for what it was worth. I don't like, you know, I hate seeing my friends get knocked out like that. But yeah, I'm going to go narrate the replay for Black and White now real quick. Just going to put that one up later. And yeah, so since I missed a Black and White game live, I might as well narrate it and act like it is live, because although I do know the result, I only was able to see a couple turns. So yeah, I'll be back, I guess.